Yeah, I'd like to get the meeting of the Board of Trustees, Long Beach City College for December 11, 2012. Please come to order. Before we begin today, I just want to make a notation that over the holidays, some of our family members here on the days and acquaintances and friends and colleagues that I have were lost some family members over the holidays, and I want to express my deepest and sincerest sympathies and condolences to those members who lost family members, including my own. I lost my mother over the Thanksgiving holiday. And so, and I know Rose had a family member as well. She lost it, and as I said, I've had other friends and colleagues across the country from my other affiliations who also lost members of their families. So to all of them, my deepest condolences, and perhaps we can end today's meeting with a moment of silence in their memories. Can I have, please, April lead us in a flag salute and get us started? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, we went into executive session and there's nothing to report. Can we please have the roll call?
President Uranga.
Present.
Vice President Kellogg. Here. Member Bowen.
Here.
Member Clark. Here. Member Otto.
Here.
Student Trustee Troya.
Present.
Okay, we are now at the welcome and introductions. President Superintendent Oakley, do we have any introductions you'd like to make?
Yes, we have a few. First, let me begin by welcoming someone to the board today. He is the new president and CEO of St. Mary's Medical Center, Tom Salerno. I want to welcome him to Long Beach, welcome him to Long Beach City College. He took a tour a little earlier today. We're very excited to have Tom as the new president of St. Mary's, doing some great work and wants to connect with the college. So I'd like to ask Tom to just come up, introduce himself, and say a few words to the audience. Come on up.
As you make your way up there, welcome to Long Beach.
Thank you very much, Eli, and Board of Trustees. We like to first say thank you for participating with us, especially the School of Nursing. For many years, we have worked very collaboratively with the college in providing and working alongside the nursing faculty, providing training facilities, and we're excited about that. We want that relationship to continue to grow. We have many of your students that work for us, and a reflection of the kind of quality students that you have trained and educated. We recently were nationally recognized as one of the quality hospitals in the country. So we want to thank you, and thank you for continuing this relationship. Thanks.
Thank you again.
Next, we are honoring a couple of retirees today. First, let me begin with Janice Quinn Wyatt. Janice, is Janice here? Okay, I don't see Janice, but let me go ahead and read her bio and then thank her. Janice has served Long Beach City College for over 37 years in theater, as a theater and film professor. She has an MA from the University of Southern California and a BA from Cal State Long Beach. She began her career here at Long Beach City College in 1975, as well as serving many of the other schools in Long Beach. So she has a long history serving the students of Long Beach. So I want to personally thank her for all of her service to Long Beach City College, the students, the community, and wish her very well in her retirement. So if you can all please join me in a round of applause for Janice Quinn Wyatt. We also have a couple of other retirees who could not be here today, so let me quickly say a few words about them. Wayne Brashear served 22 years as a music instructor here at Long Beach City College, began his career back in 1990, also worked for Cal State Long Beach. So I want to thank him for his 22 years of service to Long Beach City College, and we wish him very well in his retirement. So please join me in a round of applause for Wayne Brashear. And then also not with us today is Mario Mariota III. He has served for over 33 years in as a performing arts production technician. He began his career here at Long Beach City College back in 1978. So want to thank him. He is in the classified service. Thank him for his service to our students and to his service to Long Beach City College. So please join me in thanking Mario as well. And last but certainly not least, an individual who is here today. I have had the great pleasure since I've been at Long Beach City College to interact with him quite a bit because he has always served wonderful food to the many events that he has brought his students to. He has done a fabulous job as one of our fine instructors in the culinary arts program. Mr. Stephen Caballero. He has served as an instructor here for over 17 years. Is a product of the California Community Colleges, attended East LA College, and also served in the military. So thank you for your service, Steve, and thank you to your service to the Long Beach City College, and we wish you very, very well in your retirement. If you wouldn't mind coming on up to the podium, I have a certificate for you of recognition, and Camille's going to take a picture, and then you can have a few words.
I hadn't really prepared anything. I found out a couple of days ago about being invited for this event here. And what I wanted to do basically is to thank President Oakley, all the people that know me that I know. It's been such a pleasure to work with you over these years. I was a student here back when Shepard Tain was my chef at the time. I did my apprenticeship on the Queen Mary, and I was fortunate enough down the road after doing a couple other, working for economic development. I worked at the Terminal Island Federal Prison for a 9-year period under economic development. And fortunately, I was lucky enough to get this tenure position, which I made tenure in 2000. So I'm very proud, very happy to have served our community. I miss the heck out of my students. You can't imagine after doing it for so long, especially being blessed in a job that I was. I get up in the morning and I actually told myself, I'm actually going to work today. Looking forward to it. Could not have done this. I wouldn't be here if it were not for one person. When I got back from overseas, I was pretty much of a mess in my head. Went through transitions over the years, and I can honestly say I would not be here today were it not for my lovely wife, Mrs. Laura Caballero. Can you stand up? I love you, sweetheart. Thank you.
And then finally, we have one special presentation, and this is for one of our trustees. Let me read the letter from ACCT. On behalf of the ACCT Board of Directors, staff membership, I want to thank Roberto Uranga for his lifetime commitment to the community college mission and the millions of students served by the institution. In recognition of his service, we have a lifetime member pin that was sent to us, so I'd like to present him with his ACCT, the Association of Community College Trustees, which Board President Uranga has been the chair of for the last year. And so that was a great milestone for him, for the college, and we want to thank him for his service and present him with this ACCT pin.
Hey.
And that's all I have.
Oh, that was a pleasant surprise. Thank you very much for that, Eloy, and I'll have to remember to tell Noah Brown, who's the executive CEO and president of the ACCT, my next meeting when we have our board meeting. I also want to congratulate the retirees. Congratulations, happy retirement. I know you'll probably be a little bit more busy than you were even working, so that's usually what I hear from colleagues who have retired, and they say they got more busy than they were even while we were working, because there's a lot of honeydews, and I'm sure she has a list for you out there. So congratulations. Okay, let's look at the approval of the minutes on November 13th.
Board President Uranga, if I could interject just
I'm
one
sorry.
quick second. We did have one of our retirees just walk in the room, so I want to give her a quick opportunity. Although we've already congratulated you, Janice, on your 37 years of outstanding service, we'd like to invite you to come up to the podium, take a picture, receive the certificate, and certainly if you have any words for us, please feel free to do so.
You're clean now.
I suppose the first thing I wanted to say is I have been here since 1968 when I was a student, and I've worked here for Long Beach City College in one capacity or another since 1970. Long Beach City College has been very good to me, and I've enjoyed working here tremendously. Thank you. That's it.
Okay, before I continue, that's it? Okay, all right, thank you. And again, congratulations on your retirement, and I'm sure that you also will be very busy. Okay, approval of the minutes on November 13, 2012. Can I have a motion, please?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any amendments to the minutes? Hearing none, they are adopted as written. Ordering of the agenda, is there any one who would like to reorder the agenda? Not at this time. Okay, we will continue with the agenda as written. Item 1.1, report of Board of Trustees. We have a action item here for selecting a representative to sit on the Los Angeles County School Trustees Association, LACSTA. I discussed this particular item with Eloy, and I feel that this is our first association with this organization, and as being that it's a new organization for us as a trustee, that I think I will take on the responsibility of serving as a representative for this association for this year, and then come back next year and see if it's something that we want to continue. So can I have someone nominate me?
Motion. I'll nominate your trustee Uranga.
Okay, there's a
Second.
Okay, there's a
Great
motion. and a
relief, I'll
second.
second that.
Excuse me?
Nothing, just second.
Okay. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No, I'm not opposed. Motion passes. Thank you. Item number 1.2 is committee reports. Do we have any committee reports from any trustees at this time? Okay, having none, we'll move on to item number 2 on the agenda, which is our student trustee. Jason?
I do apologize. I'm going to have to leave. It's finals week, and I have 2 finals tomorrow. My fellow board members, after hearing many hours of testimony from passionate students, faculty, staff, alumni, and community leaders, I am no closer to reaching my conclusions on the program discontinuance process than when it began. At best, the ramifications of these cuts will linger for decades if these programs are ever reconsidered in this community again. Since at least 2008, we have been tasked with trying to curb our state's unemployment crisis, an undertaking that each of the programs being considered are effectively working towards. Yet, we've let the newest directive from Sacramento, our student success agenda, eclipse what we've been working towards for years. When in actuality, the students participating in those programs, the ones being considered for discontinuance, define what student success means outside of this boardroom. This is a failure of imagination. With the collective brain power that we have in this institution, we could certainly come up with a more innovative solution to our momentary budgetary shortfall. Perhaps we could look into scaling back certain departments rather than completely eliminating them, or find efficiencies in some of our new and untested pilot programs. But unfortunately, in my estimation, we haven't yet exhausted those options. So please consider that when you're voting in the next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason. I don't know. Okay, thank you very much. We are now at public comments on agenda items. At the request, the members of the public may comment on items listed on the agenda at the time the item is discussed and prior to board action on that item. A 5-minute time limit will be allotted to each speaker with a maximum of 20 minutes to each subject unless extended by the board president. I have one speaker card here, and it's regarding the Measure E 2002-2008 performance audits, and the individual is John Fleming. Is Mr. Fleming present? Please come on up.
Thank you. Tax-paying voters like myself voted for Bond E in the year 2002, which rebuilt the auto shop building at Long Beach City College. This auto mechanics building was rebuilt to serve the needs of the local population, which cannot otherwise afford an education leading to a career. And a career in auto repair can provide local youth of modest means with potentially lucrative employment, generating local tax revenue for the college. We, the local taxpayers, will be paying for Bond E for the next 25 years, and we expect it to fund our children and grandchildren's education in auto mechanics. If you board members do not agree that Bond E funds, which rebuilt the auto mechanics building, are intended for supporting the Long Beach City College auto mechanics program, we, the local taxpaying voters, have the option of recalling you. At this holiday season, Santa Claus would like to lend a word to the board. Don't force us to recall you. Use Bond E funds for what they were intended, Long Beach City College auto mechanics. Thank you.
Okay, we are now at the consent agenda. Can I have a motion, please?
Move approval.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll take a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes unanimously. Okay, we are at the end of the consent agenda items, and we are now at human resources. Item 5.3, presentation of LBCCE AFT initial bargaining proposal. This is an informative item. Rose, do you have a little bit of a report on this?
Yes, we have been in receipt of LBCCE's AFT's initial bargaining proposal. There are 2 articles which they have proposed for bargaining this coming spring. Those 2 articles include pay and allowances and holidays.
That was for informative item only. 5.4 is another informative item, presentation of district initial bargaining proposal. This is the same item?
Yes.
Okay. Item 8.1, Academic Senate, new course recommendations. This is an action item. Can I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve. Second.
A motion and a second. Discussion. April? Do you want to discuss any of these course recommendations that we have listed here?
The majority of them really have to
Want to put on your microphone?
forgot. The majority of them really have to do with program, repeatability. It's just fixing the courses so that they meet the state regulations and the elimination of repeatability in courses. And then there's a few of them that are honors courses. Do any of you have any questions on the courses themselves?
Dr. Clark?
Mr. President, are these current courses that have just been modified?
No, these are new courses.
Completely new courses?
Correct.
Okay.
Any other discussion on this item? Okay, hearing none, take a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, hearing none, we continue on. The motion passes. Superintendent President's report.
Yes, thank you, Board President Uranga. Item 9.1 is changes to the accountability report for community colleges and their metrics. With the changes to the ARC report and in relationship to the Student Success Act passage, which creates a scorecard for accountability for community colleges, we normally present a institutional effectiveness report around this time of year, but because the ARC data is changing and the metrics are changing, we are going to delay that report until the state concludes those changes. And so to give you an idea of what's happening, I wanted to invite Dr. Eva Bank to give a brief report to the board on the changes that are being made. So there she is. Come on up, Dr. Bank.
Thank you. I think we've got the presentation projected. Thank you. As you will recall, in 2004, it was Assembly Bill 1417 that triggered the creation of a performance measurement system for the California community colleges. That legislation authorized the Chancellor's Office to design and implement a performance measurement system that contained indicators for the system as a whole and for the individual colleges. This comprehensive system is known as the Accountability Reporting for California Community Colleges, or ARC. You have been presented annual reports from the ARC, the complete ARC report since 2008. As President Oakley has mentioned, there have been significant changes being made to the accountability framework, which I'm here tonight to update you on in preparation for the final ARC report that will be released at March 31st. As President Oakley mentioned, it was the Student Success Task Force that recommended the implementation of a new accountability framework on key student success metrics that can be used to inform our improvement efforts at the colleges. The recommendation emphasized that a scorecard be built from the existing ARC reporting system. And basically, sort of a highlight of that scorecard, it provides a disaggregation of the different measures by ethnic and racial groups. I have reported that to you just by disaggregating the data locally for you, but the scorecard itself will now contain that. It's focusing on completion outcomes more than it had in the past and is including what we call momentum points or milestones of student academic performance, which once those are reached are indicators of higher rates of ultimate completion. Also, the new framework was designed to measure outcomes of students completing fewer than 12 units. You may recall that the cohort that was used for tracking progress of students looked only at first-time students who had completed 12 units. So there's an attempt to capture more of our first-time students with the new framework. Also, you'll probably remember that we always included a peer group comparison. They're no longer going to continue to have that in the regular ARC report, but it will be provided as a supplement. So to satisfy the recommendations of the Student Success Task Force, the ARC Advisory Work Group, which guided the development of the initial accountability system in 2005, was reconvened. New members and representatives were added. In particular, there was a Student Senate representative and also representatives from the Community College League of California. And also included in this work group were researchers with technical expertise in performance measures. The group met 5 times since April to review the existing framework and design the new scorecard. So essentially, the new framework has a 4-tiered dimension to it. Each of the different tiers or levels targets a different audience or user. So the first tier is targeted for legislators and policymakers, so it's really looking at the system as a whole, providing aggregations of data, annual performance measures, including things like total number of transfers, certificates, degrees, and participation rate by gender and ethnicity. One thing that's interesting is they're going to break out transfers by for-profit and nonprofit institutions, which has become of increasing interest to the state. The second level is the scorecard. This is looking at the progress and completion rates for each of the colleges, looking at different groups of students, including students with different levels of academic preparation. And tonight's presentation is really going to focus just on the scorecard. But just to round out the 4-tiered system, the third level is the data mart. This is really geared toward the public in general, because there is a revised data mart 2.0, that's available on the Chancellor's Office website. And this is a nice tool which enables you to drill down and look over a period of time. You can do trending and break out a lot of the different measures by a variety of different variables. Finally, the Chancellor's Office provides what they call data on demand, where we can download files, and this is where the Research Office can do further analyses of the data that's contained in the, that's really driving the scorecard measures. Okay, so now getting really to the main level of interest, which is the scorecard metrics. And what I've tried to do in the presentation tonight, you'll notice a lot of indicators here that I've represented in italics. So wherever you see italics, that's where there has been a change to the previous ARC report. So you can see there's been quite a few changes. You probably remember the main measure, the student progress and achievement rate. That's been entitled progress and attainment rate. So that was mostly a nomenclature change. We had always tracked persistence, but in prior years, we just looked at fall-to-fall persistence. The new measure is looking at 3 consecutive primary years. So student continuing for 3 terms, and that is at any of the campuses in the California community colleges. The career technical education, or the CTE rate, this is new. In the past, all we were able to provide you were individual course completion rates in credit vocational courses. So now we're actually using a cohort tracking methodology. Third, the remedial education progress rate for English, math, and ESL. Again, in the past, all we were able to give you was individual credit course completion rates in those disciplines, and then we gave you an improvement rate, which only looked at going from a remedial up 1 level. Now we're going to see higher levels of completion, and I'll go over that briefly in a moment. The fourth, the career development and college preparation rate, we had that in the past, and it's been refined just a little bit, and I'll go over that as well. So going on now to the individual measures. Again, we're doing cohort tracking. So for the student progress and attainment rate, major changes made to the way we define the cohort. So first-time student in a post-secondary education, that's what we've always been looking at, first-time students. This time, we're looking at students who complete 3 units within 3 years. It used to be 12 units in 6 years. The new framework is going to include in this cohort students who've attempted any math or English course. It used to be that they attempted any degree or transfer level course. Finally, they're only including students who have a valid Social Security number. In the past, we included those who did not have a valid Social Security number. The reason for this change is that the only way we can track transfers through the National Student Clearinghouse is if students have a Social Security number. So by focusing just on those who do have the count, the actual percentage will be a more fair representation of those who actually do go on and transfer. Okay, so that's how we define the cohort. The outcome then, or the percentage of students who achieve any one of these outcomes gets included in the rate. So as has been in the past, an AA or AS degree, Chancellor's Office approved certificates, but we're going down from 18 units to 12 or more. The other possible outcome for a student to get counted in this rate would be they transfer, or they're what we call transfer prepared, and that means that they've completed 60 units at a GPA of 2.0. They've removed that transfer directed category as an outcome, and what that means is that students have completed both transfer level math and English. So if a student has completed any one of those, they get counted in this rate of progress and attainment. The other thing that is useful about the new framework is that they're taking this rate and they're breaking it out by different student categories, these 3 categories. Overall, we're looking at the percentage of the cohort in general, and then they're showing the rates by students who are what they're classifying as collegiate students. That is, students who do not take any remedial courses in English and in math. And then the other group are remedial students who have attempted either remedial English or math. And a lot of our faculty usually want to know how we define remedial. So for these disciplines in English, 1 to 4 levels before our transfer level course, English 1, that's considered remedial. In math, it's 2 to 4 levels below transfer level. The reason for math it's not including 1 below is because at the community college, the 1 below is our intermediate algebra, and that gets counted as a degree requirement. So to give you a sense, the Chancellor's Office has just provided this information with the researchers in the state. This is system-wide data that's coming in, so obviously we'll compare ourselves to this when it comes in. But overall, you can see that in general, the SPAR rate under the new measures, roughly 50%, and you can see a very different set of measures for the collegiate and the remedial group. So you can see this enables us to make that comparison. The asterisks here just want to point out that basically with this new cohort, with the changes I've mentioned, it's capturing about 50% of the first-time students. In the past, the way it was defined, we were getting out of about 6,000 new first-time students. What we were reporting on who met the criteria was about 2,500, so it was about 42% of the cohort. So you can see that it is in fact capturing more of our students. Okay, so in addition to the progress and attainment rate, we also are tracking the momentum or milestone rates. Again, we're using that same cohort that we defined for the SPAR measure. The outcomes this time, as I mentioned before, was persistence. It's 3 consecutive primary terms at any California Community College campus, and we're continuing to track the completion of at least 30 units, and then also breaking them out by those 3 reporting categories. So here you can see the system-wide persistent rates, and you'll notice that these aren't as divergent as the SPAR outcomes for persistence. So even the collegiate and the remedial groups are relatively similar. The completion of 30 units, here you can see the statewide rates and also the differences among the different groups. So it gives you a flavor of what to expect. Okay, the next measure in the scorecard, the career technical education rate. Again, how do we define that student, that cohort of students? How do we think about career tech education students in our colleges? So they're defining it as first time in taking any CTE course. We're capturing only those students who have completed 8 or more units in a single voc ed discipline in 3 years. And at least one of those courses has to be at a relatively high level, not at an apprenticeship level, but at an advanced occupational level or higher. So that's how we define the cohort, and that establishes the denominator for a rate. And then the outcomes, it's within a 6-year period of time, the student will have achieved any one of these outcomes. AAS degree, 12 or more unit, Chancellor's Office approved certificate, transfer or transfer prepared. And here's the statewide CTE rate. You may recall that our vocational rates were quite high, like around 70% or higher. So this now is looking at higher levels of completion, more than just completing the course itself satisfactorily. Okay, the next new metric, remedial education progress rate. The cohort here defined as a student who's attempted remedial math, English, or ESL course for the first time. It excludes any students who are simultaneously enrolled in a CSU or UC, and the level of the remedial course it's determined by the first attempt. And the outcome, here you'll notice that it's not just bumping up one level, but it's either completing a degree or getting to the transfer level within that sequence for that discipline. So it's a more rigorous rate. And again, here's the statewide measures that we have for 3 cohorts in math, English, and ESL. Career development and college preparation, or the CDCP rate. Some of you may recognize this as the sequence of courses for which under, I think it's SB 361, colleges were entitled to claim enhanced apportionment funding. At Long Beach City College, it's our basic adult education and our ESL certificates that qualify under this particular category. The cohort here, it's students who have attempted 2 or more of the CDCP courses within 3 years, have completed at least 4 positive attendance hours in each of the 2 or more courses, and the students can be enrolled in both non-credit and credit courses. In the past, it was just limited to the non-credit version, and we recognize that that is not typical for community college students. So again, you can kind of see a pattern here where they're trying to more accurately capture the community college students that we know. And the outcomes for this particular rate, within 6 years, they're actually getting one of those career development and college prep certificates, or another 12 or more unit Chancellor's Office approved certificate, the degree transfer or transfer prepared. You can see these rates are quite low. Part of it is that I think there's only 42 colleges in the system who actually have these types of certificates and courses. The other thing that the Chancellor's Office is recognizing is that some of these might not actually be submitted with our MIS submission process. We are doing so at Long Beach City College. But over time, the system-wide measures might increase when they're actually reported more accurately. And finally, the ARC report has always had a college profile, but still under discussion as of 2 weeks ago. I want to kind of emphasize that what I've just presented to you has been shared with the college researchers as what the scorecard is going to look like, but they're still under final negotiations about what the ultimate report will include. But there is interest in showing metrics that give us a better sense of how the colleges actually operate. So at least 2 of those measures are the number of course sections that the colleges offer, as well as the medium size of the sections. And I have sort of grayed out because I think that it's less certain whether or not these will be included in the report. That is the percent of full-time faculty and also the student-to-counselor ratio. So we'll just have to wait and see if that gets included. And finally then, the timeline for the ARC report. Our draft data will come to us at the end of January. We'll have the opportunity to review it and resubmit any of our MIS files if we need to. The scorecard will be released, the final version, March 31st. And then, as always, we have 1 year to present that data to you, and that will be documented in the minutes of our public meeting. And that's all I have. If there are any questions.
Any questions from my colleagues on the board? I have one, somewhat disturbing to me anyway. I'm not clear as to what was the logic between lowering some of these metrics from 12 units to 6 units, from 6 years to 3 years. What was the logic behind that? Were we a little bit too stringent, too restrictive?
That we were not capturing a number of our students who may have been completing units at a slower pace, but we were still tracking them over time, still within 6 years, how many of those students actually completed a meaningful educational outcome. But the thinking was that we were missing many of our students who do ultimately complete. So in previous reporting years, we were presenting to you about 40% of our first-time students. The revised metrics are actually capturing about 50% who actually reach that sort of threshold of at least 6 units in 3 years. But then the actual, the rate is capturing those who do a completion within 6 years. So I hope that's clear that basically we're just capturing more of our students who were being left out of the cohort with the previous definition.
Okay. All right. Any comments? Observations? No? Okay, thank you very much, Eva.
Thank you.
We'll continue.
Okay. Thank you, Board President Uranga. I just have a few comments to make with regard to my report. First of all, just following up on Dr. Bagg's presentation, I know comments have been made in the past regarding how we measure success, whether it be in this room or outside the boardroom. I think what her presentation clearly articulated is the way that we are being measured with regard to success in the state and in the country. This is not anything new. This is the way we are going to be held accountable by the state, by the taxpayers, and so this is something that we have identified, we have began to adjust to with the initiatives that we have in place, and with our educational master plan goals that clearly align with the accountability measures that are being put into place. It's also important to understand that this scorecard that Dr. Bagg just previewed is essentially a first step toward having funding directed toward the accountability measures going forward. It is the first step toward that end, and I fully expect that over the next several years, discussions will be had in Sacramento, and at some point a new formula will be implemented that will incorporate the scorecard, the accountability measures that we're going to be held to, and funded accordingly. So what we're doing now, what we've done with the several initiatives that we put into place, are not things that are temporary in nature. They're temporary in nature in terms of how we're going to adjust to the new accountability measures and try several ways of meeting those demands. But what is certain is that we are not going back to the ways that we conducted business 2, 3, 4 years ago, because the environment has completely changed on us. And certainly, as evident by the President of the United States, his administration, his Secretary of Education, it's clear that from all levels of government, we are going to be expected to be more accountable, and we are going to be expected to clearly articulate the number of certificates, degrees, and students that we prepare to transfer and be held to those accountability measures. Now, one could argue that those are the right accountability measures, but we are expected to account in those ways, and that's what we will prepare to do and work with the Senate leadership to ensure that we are able to clearly meet those goals. As part of that whole discussion, today the new chair of the Assembly Higher Education Committee, Chairman Doss Williams, held a hearing on a higher education hearing focused on Latino student success as it relates to the accountability measures we just discussed, as it relates to the fact that Latino students are significantly lagging in completion in this state and throughout the country. Member Doss, as well as Senator Hannah Beth Jackson, held the hearing today. We were invited to testify. I testified there earlier today, along with Chancellor Bryce Harris, to talk about what we're doing at Long Beach City College. And again, the state is looking at the various programs that we are putting in place and the initiatives such as the Long Beach College Promise and the Promise Pathway Initiative as models to promote throughout the state to ensure that the Student Success Act that was recently signed into law is actually implemented. So I just want to ensure that the faculty, staff, and the students know that the various things that we're working on in terms of priority registration, the Promise Pathways Initiative, the repeatability changes are all being driven from the same area, although they're coming in, the timing is a little different. They're all coming from the same perspective, that our institutions of higher learning are being held to different accountability standards, and we are all having to deal with that and adjust to that. Now, the final thing I want to comment on is the program discontinuance process. We recently concluded the shared governance process that relates to Administrative Reg 4024. Working with the Academic Senate, their leadership, we held an academic council meeting to discuss program discontinuance. We had quite a lengthy and in-depth meeting. I want to personally thank Dr. April Juarez, the President of the Senate, and her members of the Senate Executive Committee. They did an excellent job of providing perspective, of providing recommendations, and helping the Academic Council come to some consensus on several issues and to give me a lot of input as I work to develop a final recommendation to the board in January. So I want to thank their efforts. I feel satisfied that certainly the Academic Senate has done everything that they are responsible to do, and they've done it admirably and provided quite a bit of input that I will use and incorporate into a final recommendation in January. Having said all that, we can do one thing tonight, and that is announce that we are removing programs off the list that we all agree need to come off the list because of the passage of Proposition 30. So I want to announce that the following programs will no longer be considered for program discontinuance. That is the film program, the sheet metal program, the human services, alcohol and drug program, medical assisting program, radio and television program, as well as the faculty that were considered for layoff in the geography program, Professor Kim Hatch, as well as the computer proficiency for academic success, Professor Melvin Cobb. So all those programs and those two faculty are no longer being considered for program discontinuance or reduction in force. So I want to thank the Academic Senate for helping us come to that conclusion.
Excuse me, President Oakley, could you repeat those five once more?
I can. Film, sheet metal, human services, medical assisting, radio and television, as well as the faculty members who were teaching physical geography, Mr. Kim Hatch, as well as computer proficiency for academic success, Melvin Cobb. So again, I want to thank the Academic Senate for assisting in coming to that conclusion. I will prepare a recommendation to the Board of Trustees in January I will look at the remainder of the programs for discontinuance that are still on the list and provide a recommendation to the board that satisfies the revenue decreases and the deficit that we anticipate once we have a little bit more information about the budget situation in the state of California. So I will bring that final recommendation to the board at the January meeting. So thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Eloy. And I think it's important at this time to also note that we still are under a very serious budget deficit. So therefore, we have to continue with these recommendations for a budget for a program discontinuance because it's not over. While Measure 30 did pass, it's not the panacea that we thought it could be, unfortunately. So we are still experiencing some deficits that we need to address, and we will move forward to make sure that we have a balanced budget as we move forward during this academic year. Okay, moving on with the agenda, we have Trustee Otto.
I just wanted to make one brief comment, and that was to second Superintendent President Oakley's complimenting the Academic Senate for their work on this very tough process. We all know that given the declining revenues that we've been receiving from the state of California in the last few years, and the problems that we've had, that we've got to change the way that we do things because we don't have the money that we used to do things that they do now. But we do have a process that's laid out to discontinue programs. It is a administration faculty process, and I've watched that process over the last 4 or 5 months very carefully because I thought it was very important that we follow that process. And we have. I've been very impressed by the work that's been done, the cooperation. I've received the position statement of the Senate Executive Committee on Program Discontinuance, which I thought was very well done. Brought up a lot of good ideas, and I can assure you will be taken into consideration. So I think it's important to recognize on issues like this, which are so emotional, so important to so many people in their lives, that we're working through it, and the Academic Senate has been a big part of that. So I wanted to April, to tell you that I really appreciate the work you've done.
I also want to add my voice to that as well. Thank you for your work. Okay, Academic Affairs, no items, no report. Student Support Services, no items, no report. Administrative Services, we have the 2011-2012 Measure E, 2002-2012 Performance Audits. This is an action item. Can I please have a motion?
Approval.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a second. Okay, discussion. Vice President Gable.
Yes, thank you. We have the representatives from Moss Adams here to present on our performance report. Sorry, we have 2 sets of auditors here, so Heather, you get to wait a little bit.
Are these like competing auditors, or is this friendly?
They're friendly. Auditors.
We're all friendly. First of all, I would like to thank the Board of Trustees for this opportunity to present our finding as a result of the 2012 construction bond performance audit. My name is Vince Leone. I'm a partner with Moss Adams and oversaw the engagement, and this is Shirley Komodo, who is senior manager at Moss Adams, who performed oversaw the day-to-day procedure. So the objective of this performance audit was to verify that the district's 2002 and 2008 Measure E bond funds were expended only on listed projects that were authorized with the sale of bonds and not for school operating expenses. The audit period, which we conducted this audit, was July 1, 2011 through June 30th, 2012. We conducted this performance audit in accordance with generally accepted government auditing standards, commonly referred to as GAGAS. Those standards require that we plan and perform the audit to obtain sufficient appropriate evidence to provide a reasonable basis for our findings and conclusions based on our audit objectives. We believe that we've done this. Because GAGA's performance audit procedures require reasonable assurance and that these audit procedures did not require detailed examination of all transactions and activities, there is a risk that compliance errors, fraud, or illegal acts may exist and not be detected by us. So the performance audits focused on determining the extent to which the agency programs and activities meet legislative intent, comply with laws and regulations, operate efficiently, and provide effective services to the public. The focus of our particular performance audit was on whether bond-related expenditures were made for approved bond purposes. And so to discuss the findings as a result of our audit procedures, I'd like to turn it over to Shirley.
Hello. So for district fiscal year beginning July 1, as been said, and ending June 30th, we sampled $7,278,895, or 19% of the total 2008 Measure E expenditures. And the total expenditures were $39,017,680. When you eliminate the annual interest payment of $14 million due on the bond anticipation note, when that's excluded from the expenditures, then we actually sampled 30% of the actual construction expenditures. So what we found were no issues were identified, again this year, in the audit of the bond expenditures for the fiscal year. And I just wanted to mention to you a couple things, just so that you know. The things that we tested for are the expenditures for the listed projects that were approved. Were the payment applications and invoices properly approved? Were the expenditures compliant with properly approved contract, purchase order, or other procurement documentation? And finally, were expenditures recorded in a current, accurate, and complete manner on the district's books and records? So given that analysis, we found no findings. And you should note also that there were no findings last year, and all prior audit recommendations have been addressed. So with that, we want to say thank you for the opportunity of serving the people of Long Beach and the students of this district, and congratulations on a clean audit. Do you have any questions?
Just
Trustee Otto.
Just one quick one. You said that you did this for the 2008 Measure E bond things. Did you also do it for the 2002?
There were no expenditures in this fiscal year for the 2002, but we did look to confirm.
I thought we used them up this year. 2002 we used up this year.
Last year.
Last year.
Yeah.
June 30, 2011, we finalized Measure E 2002.
But we did look at the books and records to confirm there were no transactions billed to that.
Okay. Okay, that's all.
Okay, any other comments from my colleagues on the board? Okay, hearing none, we'll move to the next one.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Mr.
much.
President, this is an action item, I
Yep.
believe?
Yes.
We need to vote.
Oh, is this, okay, now, this was the first one?
Yes.
Okay. We had a motion and one second. Let's have a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion passes.
Board President Uranga, if I can just say before we move on to the next audit, I want to thank Vice President Gable's team, the facility staff, as well as the Cordoba Corporation Bond Management team for doing an excellent job in carrying out and implementing the bond program.
Well said. Thank you. Okay, moving on to item number 2 on the administrative services, the 2011-2012 District Audit Measure E 2008 Financial Audits. This is also an action item. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Discussion. Vice President Gable.
We have the representative from Vicente Lloyd and Stutzman, who did both the district's financial audit as well as our Measure E 2008 financial audit as required by Proposition 39. And so Heather McGee is here to present their findings on both of those reports.
Good afternoon, or good evening. I'm pleased to present these two reports with you. We met with Trustee Otto on November 27th to review both reports, and as a representation of the audit committee, I can assure you he was very thorough and asked lots of questions. And we went through the report in detail, but we won't be doing that tonight. I just want to point out three main aspects of the audit report to you that every board member is interested. First, that is the opinion of the audit report. The district financial statement has received an unqualified opinion, which is also referred to as a clean opinion in our industry. And that's the best opinion that you can receive on your financial statements. Basically, it lets the financial statement reader know that the numbers that they're reviewing and information they're reviewing can be relied upon. The second aspect is audit adjustment. There was one audit adjustment this year, and auditors have the benefit of coming in after the books are closed to find any differences. And there was an accounts payable that was booked twice. One of our professional standards requires us to evaluate that adjustment to see if there's any weaknesses in the internal controls. And we've reviewed those procedures. It was just a human error. And management has already started working on implementing additional procedures to ensure that that doesn't happen again. And lastly is findings. For the district audit report, there are two findings. There's no findings regarding internal controls, no finding regarding federal compliance, but two regarding state compliance. And they have to do with the area of to-be-arranged hours as well as the disabled DSPS program. And if you would like to review those are in the back of the financial statements on page 71 and 72. And I just want to remind, although there's findings in the report, the findings really are a byproduct of the audit report, not the sole purpose of the audit report. The sole purpose is to issue an opinion on the reliability of those numbers. So when you have a chance, I would definitely encourage you to review the financial statements, look through the management discussion, analysis and discussion. What that is a comparative of what's happened between one year to the next year and where the district is at, as well as looking at the footnotes, because they kind of help the financial statement reader understand what makes up those numbers. Were there anything else you would like me to talk about regarding the district financials?
I just wanted to make one additional point, and that is that the board has an audit committee. It consists of two people. In this year, it was me and Trustee Uranga, who was unable to attend the meeting on the 27th because of the death of his mother, but our Vice President for Administrative Services, Anne Marie Gable, I understand, went over the audit report page by page with Roberto.
Yes, she did.
Oh yes, more thoroughly than Trustee Otto, trust me.
Thank you for calling me out like that.
So I think it's important for people to know that it got looked at by more than one person. So.
Yeah. Yes, I did have an opportunity to meet with Dr. Gable.
Great.
Vice President Gable.
I'm glad she was able to.
Yeah, we will certainly address those two findings. Hopefully we'll get a better report next time. Thank you very much for pointing that out to us.
And then I also have the Prop 39 report. The previous auditors presented on the performance piece. Our firm reviews the financial piece. So a separate financial statement is issued for the Proposition 39. Same three main aspects to point out to you. It has a clean opinion, unqualified opinion. The audit adjustment that applied to the district financials also applied to the Prop 39. So it's the same adjustment, and there are no audit findings regarding internal controls.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Okay, hearing none, we'll take the vote. All in favor of accepting the reports, please say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you very much for an excellent report, unqualified as it is. Okay, Pacific Coast Campus, no items, no report. College Advancement and Economic Development, no items, no report. Academic Senate.
Okay, now it's my turn to thank the board on behalf of the faculty for giving each of the programs who've gone through the program discontinuance process an opportunity to help you better understand the full scope of their work. I know there's a couple more programs that are going to be presenting under public comment tonight. And this is because we know the Board of Trustees has the final decision concerning whether or not the elimination of programs is in the best interest of the college, and if so, which programs will be eliminated. Hearing each of these programs presentations has provided you with some insight about how passionate the faculty are about their programs and how passionate the students are about their programs. All of us want the same thing as you do, and that is to ensure that the students get the best education possible. We know that in making your final decision concerning President Oakley's recommendation, you will consider the ramifications of discontinuing programs for the students, as well as keep in mind the importance of securing adequate placement for the students in alternate programs in any discontinued program to help ensure a positive outcome in our up-and-coming accreditation process. I'm sure you also understand how difficult this has been on all of us, even the programs that are not part of the potential cuts, and faculty who are not part of the potential cuts. So please don't consider any of the programs' absence from the presentation process as an indication they are okay with the program cuts. And if there's any programs that you still want to hear from, or you want more information from, or you want them to come back and see you again, just let me know, and I'll make sure that you get the information you need. I did give you that Senate Executive Committee position statement, and I gave Jackie a new copy of it because, I don't know, if you look real close, like the very first word is spelled wrong in such a way that I'm not really comfortable with it. So I asked Jackie to please give you the updated copy, despite the fact 9 people read it before it went out that way. And we also have a final copy of our whole report that I can send to Jackie electronically if you guys are interested in seeing it. It's long but not wordy. I think that would be the best description of it, and well organized. So if you're interested in that, just let me know. And thank you again, and I really look forward to hearing the last of the programs tonight.
Again, thank you for your work on this effort, and I'm sure that report might be long, but concise, direct. Okay, Academic Senate.
So does that mean you want it?
Why not?
Why not? Okay, good deal.
No, I mean, yeah, I mean, I'd like to see what came into it and what went into the process, because it is your process that brought us to this point. So we want to certainly have all the information we possibly can on that.
I'll give it to Jackie, and I know she'll forward it to you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, trustee communications. Do we have any trustee communications at this time? I don't have any myself. Okay. New business. I didn't hear anything new coming out of this meeting at this point. Future reports. We don't have any at this point. Not to say that there aren't others pending. Basically, I think, we did have a future report that I think will be coming later on, and that would be the ARC report that we got. We have a presentation tonight, so that will be coming up at some future date. What is the deadline on that one?
March, sometime in March.
Okay, so we'll probably want to hear it sometime in in February, I think would be the only meeting that we have an opportunity to see that, or?
Excuse me, the data won't be ready until March.
Oh, okay. Okay. So then soon after that. All right. We are now at public comments on non-agenda items. Before I open this up, per custom, as I have indicated in the past, we understand that there are some very emotional issues that we are dealing with, and I hope that you all are collegial and respectful when you are coming up here, because we certainly want to have an opportunity to hear everyone. There is a time limit, and I will be reading that statement shortly. But please, when you're up here again, allow time, especially for those presentations that include more than one individual or two, to allow time for your colleagues to also have an opportunity to speak on behalf of that topic. One last thing that I need to say is that I'm going to be attending a graduation later on this evening, so during the middle of this presentation here, I will have to get up and leave, and I will pass the gavel over to Vice President Kellogg, who will conduct the remainder of the meeting. Okay. So, public comments on agenda items at a request, members of the public will be given the opportunity to address the Board of Trustees on matters of general district business. This is a time for members of the public to speak, be heard, and share their comments with the board and for the board to listen. Therefore, the public should not expect the board to comment or respond to public comments. A particular position should not be inferred if there are no board member comments during this time. A total of 5 minutes will be allotted to each subject unless extended by board president. After receiving testimony, the board may recommend placing such items on the agenda of a future meeting or referring the item to staff for a report. So let's kick it off here. Okay, I have speaker cards here for, let's start with recording arts. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 individuals who wish to speak on this item. So 10 speakers, 5 minutes, I'll give you a break. Well, let's give ourselves a break because I do really want to hear everybody. So please keep your comments as, right. So if you can please keep your comments as precise, concise as possible, because I know there's a lot of individuals here. We have 5 minutes, and there's many others, another presentations as well. So we don't want one to take control over the other. So as I call your name, you might want to line up over here on the right side behind the podium, on my right, your left, so that we can expedite the process. Tatiana Turner, Daniel Bastian, Andy Kidu, Tawanda Shivers, please excuse my pronunciation, Kolai Famaui, Bola Aduoli, Mayra Aguilar, now that one's easy, Nancy Allen, Roland Embret. Oh, wait a minute, another one, Lucia Mota. Yeah, so those individuals can please. Okay. I had you speaking last. The way I got them, that's the way I read them. Okay? No offense. I'd like to hear the students. Okay, Tatiana Turner is a student.
Thank you guys for allowing me to speak. First thing I want to say is thank you for saving the programs you have saved. I don't know what to say. I don't know what I would do if I had to judge whether or not to help one person and in turn another one suffers. It's a tough decision you guys have on these issues. Okay, let me get myself together. Okay, it's a tough decision you guys have. And to be able to decide whether or not something should exist when you haven't had the experience and the knowledge of the value of the program or aren't familiar with how important it is to other people, that's even tougher. Obviously, there are people of faith up here, and faith is believing in something that you don't have proof of. But in this case, it's different. You have proof. The proof is in our faces, of my fellow students, in the work that they produce, and you can show, and we can put in front of you and say, look, this is what I did. So you could judge for yourself what the program is doing and what it's teaching to the people that are in it. The media and recording arts is a rapidly growing field, and without And I'm sure some of you guys even grew up when television was black and white with no CD players and cassettes and, you know, those big black things that you put on the thing and it spins, those things. So you can understand that this is a rapid and growing field. I ask that you consider the importance of the program on the Long Beach community, its alumni, and its future. The school has the tools needed and the structures willing to fight for their students' success and prosperity. And I ask, and just to say in closing, that when you make your decision, I just want to ask that if you can truly say that the media arts, TV, film, and recording have not evolved in the last 20 years and in the last 10 years extremely rapidly, then I guess we don't need the program. You don't need to provide the services to the community so that they're able to gain the skills for employment in these fields. And soon, you know, the program will be a memory and fade away, because what's an art campus without all the arts? Thank you.
Please state your name when you come up. Daniel?
Daniel Bastian.
Daniel.
I'd like to start off by thanking the board and the community for their time here today. I'd like to open up by saying Walter Cronkite once stated, "Whatever the cost of our libraries, the price is cheap compared to that of an ignorant nation." That statement has never been more accurate than it is today. I'm here to support the Recording Arts program at LBCC. I started my education here in the fall of 2004 with the ambition of achieving an associate's degree in commercial engineering. After less than 1 year in the program, I was hired as a theater technician by Cedar Fair, along with many of my classmates. The skills I acquired were more than adequate to get my career in live sound rolling. I really had no sense of direction after graduating high school, and between Nancy Allen and Charles Gutierrez, I was confident in what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. This program is a phenomenal source of networking and safe hands-on environment to fine-tune and engineer skills. In the hands of LBCC Recording Arts, I have had the honor of being involved in a live session with Johnny Vatos Boingo Dance Party, aka the remaining members of Oingo Boingo. Several trips to the NAMM show, which is the biggest music industry trade show in the world. 2 visits from the John Lennon Music Bus, a mobile recording studio. Countless recording sessions in 4 different studios within the music building, and face-to-face interactions with industry professionals brought by teachers to the campus. I believe that my life experiences have shaped me as a person, and LBCC recording is a big part of who I am. I urge the board not to take the choice to cut recording engineering lightly. Constituents rarely forget.
Hello. Although it is very disappointing to me to imagine Long Beach City College without its recording program, I'm happy to say that it's actually a great opportunity for me to become reunited with members of my family. I'm proud to say that this is my family. I'm also proud to stand before you and represent the department and explain why it should be considered to continue. A little over 10 years ago, I had no direction. As many young adults, I was caught up with the wrong crowd, doing things I shouldn't be doing, and ultimately sabotaging my future in a way. That's when I found music. Gave me a feeling I never felt before. Through learning instruments and attempting to write songs, I was able to stimulate parts of my brain that had never been tapped and was always blocked out. Creativity, spirituality, logic, and whatnot. And I was obsessed with learning how to record those songs. The only recording program I ever heard of was Full Sail in Florida. But that school cost like $20,000 a semester. So I found this program on the internet, and I moved from Sacramento to Long Beach specifically for this program. I even enrolled in the general education classes, and I absolutely hated school. Learning and studying recording helped me to learn to apply myself. I started excelling and getting A's in classes like political science and statistics, and recording was just the first step of that process. Doing business in the music industry is one of the most ridiculous things ever, but this is my passion and I have to do it. What else are you going to do with a song after you record it? You got to show people and see if it can make any money. This huge step taught me about business in general and also about how to create and keep relationships with people. Anyway, to make a long story short, my life drastically changed for the better, and I really do blame it on this program we're thinking of discontinuing. I'm super frustrated about that. My name's Andy Cadu. I've created and been a part of bands throughout the years, performed in many different parts of the world. I'm currently in a band called The Spell, and we've been recently licensing songs to NBC and a little company called Intel. I'm a small business owner. Don's Appliances, Inc. is an appliance repair company I own, and also a Fair Exchange Entertainment Group I own a percentage of and operate.
Can you please wrap it up?
I don't have a wife and kids, but I stay out of trouble and I help stimulate Long Beach's local economy. I stand before you to tell you that this program is a gateway to opportunity for kids and adults with no direction, and I'm living proof. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bola Oduwale. As you could tell from my beautiful accent, I wasn't born here. I was born in Nigeria. I came here because of the American dream. I wanted to live the American dream. And what was my American dream? My American dream was to be successful under equitable situation. When I came here, the country that I came from does not have a whole lot of resources like the United States. However, they were able to provide from the little resources that we have to prepare me to compete with the American students. When I came here, I got my bachelor's degree, I got my master's degree in business administration, I work as a corporate banker, and in the process of working as a banker, I became an educator because I was attached with the Junior Achievement Program with Hollywood High School. Then I got into education. I got my master's degree in education. I now teach in the Long Beach community. How did I get into this program? I've been playing music all my life. I talk to my students about what I do. I teach math. That's the subject everybody hates. When they come in and they ask me, they say, I don't really like math. I love music. You played music. How can I get into music? I know what to tell them. All I knew was how to play the instrument. So I started researching around, and I found out about the Long Beach City College program. I recommended a lot of them, and some of them are sitting in here, in this particular school. I started taking the classes with them because they also challenged me. They said, well, you told us to go to LBCC. What about you? Why don't you come and do that? I came, I joined the program, I started working with the program, and I started being in class with my STEM students. I've learned a lot since I've been here. Your mission statement says, may I repeat, academic excellence, equitable student environment, workforce development, support services for a diverse community. If you take away their dream, how are you supporting this community? If you take away their dream, how can they live the American dream? Give them the opportunity. Raise your hand up if you're in the program, please. Look, this is just a section of this program. Give them the opportunity. Let them learn. How would you like to wake up in the morning, tomorrow morning, for those of you on the board that have kids, and they look at you in the face and they say, I want to be an astronaut. And you say, oh, right now the economy is so bad, we don't have the budget within our family household to support your dream of being an astronaut. Would you like to look at your kid in the face and tell them that?
Could you please close it?
Yes. So, what I'm saying is, these microphone and speaking with were done by recording engineers. American artists, Beethoven, Mozart, Gene Autry, Bruce Springsteen, James Brown, Whitney Houston, American Idol, Dick Clark, Quincy Jones. Without recording, there will be nobody. Thank you for your time.
Good. Please state your name.
Myra Aguilar. Hello, Board of Trustees. My name is Myra Aguilar, and I'm a multimedia service technician here at LBCC, aka the person that sits in the back that runs the show. I'm a graduate from the Recording Arts program here at LBCC, and I have to say that this program really changed my life and just helped me break out of my shell. Because believe it or not, I used to be shy. I am the youngest of 7 and the only one that holds a bachelor's, an AA of audio recording engineering from here, and a BA in digital media arts. This program is very hands-on, and I have to say it mirrors the real world very well. This program not only just teaches you to operate equipment such as microphones and power amps and recording software and mixing consoles, but it also teaches you life and people skills that you normally don't always get taught in books, like networking with folks, troubleshooting, communication, patience, and above all else, confidence. Signal flow and troubleshooting are one of the best skills that I've learned getting from this program. The program is so hands-on that the skills actually become instinct, like a second nature. So one example was Trustee Otto. There were many times that you could not be at these meetings physically, but through different pieces of audio equipment and good old signal flow, we were able to have you here, and it seemed as though the board didn't even skip a beat, though we did miss you, though, being here. And Trustee Uranga, the Hispanic Leadership Conference back in September, well, multimedia worked that, and I don't know if you knew, but the morning of one of the mornings of the conference, the audio in the hotel actually didn't work. And the hotel's audio engineer wasn't there, and the banquet manager had no idea how to fix it. So needless to say, with some troubleshooting, I got the mics and the audio working before the speaker and the guests could even tell. Thank you. So I like to think that we're like the ninjas, that we just make things happen and everything looks and sounds great. So anywho, there are many jobs that require audio skills, and most people think music studios and concerts, but no one really thinks of the local level, and that's what I like to do. I'm a person of the community, and I see that it's just as important to have a speech be heard at a park or at a town hall, or have a board of trustee meeting be heard and recorded. And it's just as important as having the Foo Fighters' new album or Tony Bennett's Christmas CD. So in the last 13 years, I've managed to have a steady flow of employment, and I've worked at music studios, on TV crews, plays, corporate parties here. I'm going. And I have to say, it's all because of this program that really helped me just prepare myself, echarle ganas. So, and the last thing I just wanted to say was, this program really also has a really good reputation. And I mean, the alumni are everywhere, like international everywhere. And there used to be a joke when I was here taking classes that it kind of mirrors the USC joke, which no offense to anybody that went to USC, but it's that whole, hey, you went to USC? I went to USC too, you got the job. Or you went to USC? My family went to USC, you got the job. There was many of us that got hired on the fact that they knew that we came from the Long Beach City recording program, because many employers knew that the students from this program stood out from others. So thank you very much for your time, but I have to get back to work.
Okay, we are at 13 minutes and we're only halfway through, okay? So please, in the interest of time for everyone else, be as precise as you can. And I want to hear from the students. Taiwan Shivers?
Taiwan Shivers, yes.
Okay, thank you.
I'm here representing Lab 4911, which is the majority of the audience that you have before you. More importantly, I come from the workforce. I'm an employee of the Walt Disney Company, and about a year ago, I realized that the workplace is constantly changing, and my department was no exception. I came to the program to learn Pro Tools because the line of work that I'm in, I'm primarily I'm a supervisor at the Disney Channel, and there what I do is I'm responsible for making sure that all the content that you see going on air remains on air, and when it doesn't, we get it back to air. And one of the biggest desires for me to come to Long Beach City College was to learn Pro Tools. And in doing so, I learned that the program had a lot more to offer. It gave me the opportunity to pick up skills that I had never thought of, such as Foley, becoming a re-recording artist, and things that interest me and desired me, dreams that I had prior to getting my, BA in radio and television some 12 years ago. I decided that I would come back to college just to pick up those skills. And I've met a plethora of just wonderful people, both youth, middle-aged, and also as those that have wisdom beyond what you can imagine. I stand here before you more so, not for myself, but to give these young people an opportunity to pursue their lives, their dreams, their careers. I've been given that opportunity some 20 years ago. I started at Laney College, which is in Oakland, California. From there, I went on to San Francisco State, and then maybe some 2 or 3 years later, I landed my job at Disney. And with that, the California Community College is a gateway to dreams. And by allowing these young folks the opportunity to make and pursue their dreams, to take that away from them, it would just be devastating. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Kolai? Kolai?
My name's Kolai Falmui. Came here at Long Beach City boarding program. I was a homeless ex-con, parolee. I was living out of my car first semester. And what the program has done for me personally, it actually gave me a desire, hope to live according to what's right. There was many times where I was frustrated. I couldn't get a job. I didn't have any hope in anything. But it was the music, the sonic wave that when I came here, I noticed that, working with the instructors, how much information they had that actually had me encouraged to stay and learn as much as I could. Beyond my life, I believe that the recording program is essential for the generations, the younger generation, because as young people, when I was young, I listened to the music. Whatever message was there, I followed it. I followed that message. And right here is the place. And I believe that it's very important for the city of Long Beach, LA County, California, and our country. Because again, the music, the kids listen to the music. Right here, we receive good instruction from our instructors, wealth of knowledge. And again, we're here where I learned to be a law-abiding citizen. So.
I had Nancy next. If you want to come up next, or you want to be last, Nancy, I'll give you the option. I'll talk to Nancy Allen. You go ahead. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Roland DeBright. I'm a former student here. I attended school here from 1990 to 1997, part-time, while simultaneously starting a new family. I'm proud to say now, as of 2 weeks ago, I'm also a grandfather now. I've known Nancy longer than I've known my wife. I will try to be very concise because many of these people have appealed to you emotionally. I want to appeal to you on a more intellectual level. This is now my career. Sound is my career. I actually work freelance with a gentleman who is also an alumni from Long Beach City College's recording department, who runs an AV company, and he's very successful with it. And I work with him on an ongoing basis, along with a variety of other. The majority of his staff are alumni from this school, from this department. I researched several schools before attending here. And it's silly to say, but from schools across the country, this was the only one that was hands-on from day one on the equipment. And it's because of those skills that I have learned that I'm successful at what I do now. I have a career. And the gentleman earlier who was appealing for the automotive department, he's an easy win. I agree with him, obviously. You understand very directly the benefits of an automotive department. The sound department comes off as a more abstract thing. And when you think about music and concerts and like that, but it's also, as she pointed out, it's your ability to have this meeting. It's sporting events. It is, I work primarily with city events with the American Cancer Society. We help them out with their relays. We do all kinds of community events that the value of that is a bit more abstract, but it strengthens community. It brings people together, these types of things. But the final thing I'd like to point out is that you've already confirmed the value of the film department and the value of the radio and television department. As much of a fan as I am of Charlie Chaplin, we do not have silent film. So if those two departments are clearly valued, then the recording department goes hand in hand with them quite concisely. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Lucia Moda, and I'm actually a former student here at LBCC. I graduated in May 2004 with honors, and I came back again this past fall and spring to take courses here as well. I truly believe in what LBCC has to offer its students, and that's why I came back. Unfortunately, I found out recently that you were looking to cut the recording arts program at LBCC, so I came here to not only vouch for the program, but for the students as well. I actually had the benefit of receiving the services of the department as a client and a musician in a band. A current student here is currently recording my band's second demo. I've had the pleasure of getting to know many of the students, and I can tell they are passionate, motivated, professional, and consider the recording arts program their home. In fact, it is their home. When the rest of the campus is closed, I still see students in the department until way into the evening. And after this, I actually need to run over back to the recording department because my guitarist is currently recording at this very moment. So please see this department not only for its passionate students, but for the services they provide the community as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, board members. I slipped through the cracks somewhere and wasn't on the agenda with Academic Senate, so here we stand. I'm Nancy Allen, and I'm a full-time faculty member in the commercial music program in the Music Radio Television Department, speaking on behalf of the audio production program, also known as recording, which is on the district's hit list for discontinuance. The audio production program is one of 3 programs within commercial music. The commercial music program is paid out of one top code, 1005. When this plan to balance the budget by cutting programs was developed this past spring of 12, there were 6 full-time faculty members in commercial music, and the plan called for the deletion of 2 of them, recording. This plan is due to go into effect in fall of 13. By that time, commercial music will have already lost 2 full-time faculty members. Using the vice president's average cost of $110,000 per year per full-time faculty member, upon entering the fall 13-14 semester where the cuts are to begin, commercial music will already have reduced the budget by 1 full-time faculty member, saving $110,000 for being gone this entire 12-13 year, and another who leaves, who we spoke of earlier, Wayne Brasher, who leaves the end of this week. Again, saving another $55,000, so that going into the fall 13-14 semester where the cuts are supposed to begin, we will already have realized $165,000 savings. All the commercial music, as well as academic music and radio television, share the same facilities and equipment, and we have all the audio equipment we need for at least 5 to 7 years, no new costs. Plus, unlike some programs who have ongoing materials costs such as wood, paper, paint, nails, clay, metal, solutions, and solvents, our raw materials are free. Sound waves. We pluck them out of the air, we store them, and we play them back for everyone to enjoy. Our recent partnership with Yamaha Corporation to train their incoming engineers is a unique one. LBCC is one of only 2 colleges in the country to be offered this opportunity. Berklee College of Music in Boston is the other, and Berklee regularly comes to LBCC to hire our studios and instructors and use our student to record their student singer-songwriters. We have a unique facility. We feel commercial music has already met and exceeded the requested cost cuts, and the audio production program should remain open. You've already heard from a lot of our Lab 4901 students. Did you figure out Lab 4901? 4901 East Carson? The college address? That's what we call our facility and our student group. So we'd like to thank them for being here. In closing, I ask that the board grant continuance to the commercial music program, and you have additional backup as well as student successes on DVD that you can watch at your leisure. So I thank you for your time.
Okay. All right.
In the audience of the card, there was a Dwayne Alexander, and on here he had Save the Music program. I'm going to take the assumption he was talking about this program. Dwayne, are you out there? Yes, no? Dwayne Alexander? Save the Music program? All right. Just because that was the one that was going on. We are next going to go to the automotive. It's been averaging about 3 minutes per speaker, which was quite good, so thank you very much. The following 3 I have, and the 4th one, really, I'm going to ask the question, but of the following 3 individuals on the automotive, could they please line up over here? Donald Williams, John Thompson, and is it Gabor Voss? Those 3 individuals for the automotive. I also have Dr. Fred Lamb. You have automotive and aviation. If you want to talk about automotive, please feel free. If you want to talk about aviation, I'll be calling aviation after the automotive individuals. So with that, Donald, you are going to start regarding the automotive. Also, please, again, try to be respectful. We understand this is not what you want to be doing, speaking before us, but if you keep your comments directed on the issue, we would appreciate it. Your name for the record, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Gabor Bász. I am one of the faculty in the auto mechanics program. I don't want to talk tonight about how great our program is and how it changes the lives of the students and so on. You heard them all. Every one of these programs on the list of discontinuance are wonderful. They provide a valuable service to the community, and they should be kept. They should not be discontinued. But we were told more than once that unfortunately this is a matter of money. And of course the justification for these programs were mainly that there are no demand in the industry for our students completing the programs. So a few board meetings ago, a board member, Kellogg, was answering Dan Perkins, the instructor from aviation, and you made a statement that if incorrect information comes to the front of the board, that has to come from the faculty through program review data. I would like to bring it to your attention that the third page in my handout, the bottom of the page, it lists Vice President Lowenstein states that the number of area-wide completers exceeds job demand. I would like to bring to your attention the information, the study where this data came from and what the district used as justification for discontinuance for automotive program. And please, I would like to make it clear then, take this information, what I am bringing here, as a constructive criticism, please. If you look at page 4, this is the study made by KH Consulting Group, which was used to determine the demand for automotive students, the job demand for automotive students. And as you can see on this list, KH Consulting Group was contacting these businesses in order to determine how many are former students or how many are completing students being hired. And not one automotive repair business listed on this list. They have a Valley Christian Preschool and Home Daycare Center and Real Estate Advisory and Nazarene Christian Preschool and so on. 47 business entities. This KH Consulting Group was contacting to gather the information and using this information for this study, which was later used by the district to determine that there is no demand or not sufficient demand for our students. The district also paid, you can see the next page, $78,000 for this study. $78,000 is a lot of money. Our operating budget on the auto mechanics program, you can see it on the following page, is $11,808 per school year. This $78,000 was spent on this study would have or could have financed our operating budget for 7 years. So anyway, what I'm trying to say here is how we spend money prior to this.
You were at 5 minutes. So could you please try to wrap up so we can get to the next
I was hoping you can be a little bit lenient with us. You gave more than 30 minutes for the previous group.
Because
I would
they
appreciate
had 10
that.
speakers.
Yes. May I?
And so they were all very
May
concise.
I continue?
Please try to wrap up in a few minutes. You have 2 more minutes. Please.
On a college day, Mr. Oakley invited a keynote speaker who made a startling statement, and I was really shocked to hear that the quality of the education system in the United States ranks 47th among other nations. 47th. I was very shocked, so I started to look into what other countries do, and after we spend, or the taxpayers spend more than $10 million on our aviation and automotive building. I was really curious what other countries do, how do they conduct their education system, and then find a South American country, what is called the third world developing country. And I contacted their automotive program. And this is what I found. You can see on the following page, this is a Formula One race car. This is what their automotive students building and actually racing with it. And they have less money, less operating budget than we do here. The following page, you can see what we do here at Long Beach City College. I mean, the 2 pictures just really shows what's the difference between how we spend our money or what we're spending our money on and what they do. Probably that's why they call them developing countries. The following page is the operating, the unrestricted general fund of this college. I am sure you are quite familiar with it. Your job is to thoroughly scrutinize it and approve it. And I see some items there which really, to me, it's really questionable. Perhaps we need to look into it. Perhaps there are some other ways to cut expenses without discontinuing vital programs. For example, classified manager supervisors, $4.6 million. Confidential salaries, $1.04 million. That's about $6 million right there. And we were told the district needs to save $2.1 million. And the reason they're cutting or discontinuing all our vocational programs because they need to save $2.1 million. And the last page is our students made up this it's supposed to be funny page about what's going to happen to our program and the building after the district discontinues our program. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have you forwarded this? Has this information been given to the academic side? Do you have all this information from that department? Everything they've given here, you have, and you've been able to all right. So the proper people do have this. Very good. Next speaker, please. And if you do have to leave, you can just do so quietly. We appreciate it. Thank you. Sorry, name for the records, please.
For the panel and the students, I just want to thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is John Thompson. I'm part of the auto mechanic program. My name is John Thompson. I am currently a student here at LBC Auto Mechanic Trade Program. So located in my community where I reside. I am asking that you take the time to listen to our voices. I am speaking out for myself and for my fellow classmates. We made a decision to change our lives. This opportunity for growth in mechanic was made available to us. We had very little hope and fears when we first started, but our instructors, they've been great. Oh wow, you just don't know. Excuse me, everybody, because it's emotional what you're doing to us. The opportunity for auto mechanic to us, we have very little hope and fears when we first started, but our instructors were so inspiring in helping us that we became motivated to give our lives a second chance. We were amazed how they took the time to really give us the knowledge and the skills we have learned from this trade. We say for many years that our lives were in the streets, hustling, doing whatever it took to survive, rob, stealing, killing, and the hope and the dream and hopes and dreams. As you know, most of us have lived a difficult life, and today we have a trade that leads us to jobs. If this program is discontinued, we are forced to go back to only the life that we know: streets, drugs, crime. Please please, we want to grow. Don't make the decision to take our program. Give us a chance to break the cycle in our community. We would and could, but I can't, and I can and I will make a difference in this community. As you leave here today, if your car break down, I'm gonna tell you this: it ain't no clap in and clap off. You're gonna need somebody to help you fix your car. Music is fine, but they can't even get to their music things without a mechanic and us who in this field helping them out. So taking away this program will really hurt not only us, the community as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson.
My name is Donald Williams, and I'm a student at Long Beach City College in the automotive program. I've attended a couple of these trustee meetings with the sole intention of studying the politics and procedures put forth in these meetings. And I've come to learn quickly just how callous and unconcerned this board could actually be towards the students and faculty. I've watched countless numbers of students and staff address you with statistics, demographics, and various sources of research, imploring only that you would take heed to their concerns. I've watched in horror and dismay as their pleas have fallen on deaf ears time and time again. I've witnessed members of this board take such an uncaring and nonchalant position that you have actually watched the clock to the right of me as students and staff begged you to do what was only right. It is not my intention to display any form of disrespect to this board. However, I find it to be with extreme difficulty to show any man, woman, group, or board any semblance of reverence when that man, woman, group, or board has taken an uncaring and nonchalant position towards the issues that presently affect us as students. I felt the need to tell you directly to your faces that this board has been more detrimental to this institution of education than gun violence has been to the entire American society. How is it that this board can grant and rationalize the financial allotment for personal condominiums, $15,000 to $20,000 allotments for gas and vehicles for the higher ranking officials of our school, multiple tens of thousands of dollars for an accountant who probably has difficulty balancing his personal checkbook, let alone a multi-million-dollar school budget, as well as a hefty six-figure salary for yourselves. Various other appointed school officials also then sincerely say to us, as straight-faced liars often do, that there is no money for our education. You all are the plague that has befallen us. Nearly all of our lives, we have been taught that an education is the only key to success. What we weren't told is that our own elected body of government charged with the oversight of our education will be the ones literally attempting to steal the keys right out of the very palms of our hands. It is time that we students collectively focus our perspectives in its proper placement. Any man, woman, or group, or board that threatens the opportunity for us to become educated, anyone who dares to place an obstacle, hurdle, or challenge in the avenue of our education should and will be seen in his or her true light as an adversary and a common enemy to us all who seek to enhance our lives through the means of higher education. I do not believe it to be too harsh of me in stating that only someone who embodies the characteristics of the devil incarnate could wish such ill will on a youth of today. The ills of being uneducated and all the fundamental negativity associated with it. The ills of not having a legitimate skill to provide for oneself with the basic necessities of life. If this is the course of action you take, then recall is the course of action we must take as students and taxpayers of this community. I will personally, inexorably initiate this recall of this entire board from the pseudo thrones that you seat your Uncarrion posteriors and while you deliberately and savagely strip and destroy the base of my and other opportunities for education. In conclusion, if you will not work for the betterment of the students, we feel students, it is better that you do not work at all. This is what recall looks like. And if they won't work for us, we'll work against them. Recall each and every one of them. Recall.
All right. We now have the aviation people. There are 3 speakers for the aviation. If we could have Fred Lamb, Vance Rose, and it looks like Raj, Tauqur, I believe. Those 3 speakers. And this is, again, is on the aviation department.
Automotive and aviation.
Right?
Automotive and
Auto or aviation. You're
just one or the other?
You had both, so.
Yeah, I wanted to speak a little bit on both of those.
If you can do it within the.
Okay, I'm going to move it on because I got out of
Thank
luck here. Okay. Automotive. First, we got a new facility. And remember, that was built by tradespeople. All new equipment. And that's going to last us for another 15 to 20 years. All that's been paid for is by taxpayers and voters of this district. Press telegram said only low enrollment classes will be affected. Please turn to page 1 of the handout. Okay, that one? Okay. Please turn to page 1 through 7 and look at the enrollment data. Average is well over 30 students. And then look at page 8, and you'll see that next semester, the wait list, the next semester is already full. We already have a waiting list for classes next semester, and this semester is not even over with. On its face, to the untrained eye, it may appear that the low enrollment classes are low enrollment classes, but these are 9-unit classes. And these 9 units generates the same amount of FTEs as it would take a class with just 3 units, 90 students. We've gone through this before. Also, the trade classes represents 2 sources of income from the state and the federal government, the CPA. If you cut the source of income, if you cut this source, you cut the income. By the way, these students and faculty are the only continuous source of funding at this college. Everyone's salary on this campus is paid for by the students and the salary and the faculty. Funds are generated by the students and the faculty, even the gardeners, construction workers, even and administrators. Also, this includes your medical that you get paid for. Also, it includes that personal life, not life, but personal insurance policy. If you make a bad decision, that you can't get sued because would they pay pay for that salary also, for that benefit also. This bit, okay, on page 9, recommends that our students go to East LA, Cerritos, or El Camino, or Trade Tech. Some of these colleges gave out less certificates than we did. It is the fiduciary duty of this college to provide educational programs for the citizens of this district. However, you are, listening to this, you are on the verge of outsourcing the education of this community to another college. Does this mean that Cerritos administrators and their board members are more efficient than you are? Perhaps we should consider becoming a part of a Cerritos Community College and use their more efficient administrators and board members to the aviation program. It's also a new building, new equipment, again, built by tradespeople. They have new tools.
Sir, can I just, you're still on automotive,
No,
and you want to discuss also aviation?
Yeah, I'm just on aviation.
Okay.
Okay. In aviation, I back up a little bit. New building, new equipment, all this is built by the trades. And all this is being paid for, that bond that was spoken about earlier, and the CPA funds. No need for new equipment in that area again for another 15 or 20 years. I'm interested in the not automotive program, I'm interested in the aviation program at this time because my daughter's in that program. She graduates this month with her certificate and an AA degree as well. And the reason she's doing that is because she wants to be a missionary pilot. If a missionary pilot breaks in a remote airfield, who fixes it? She does. And that's why she's taking that program. And that's why I'm interested in it. And also like to fly, I can fly airplanes and helicopters. And maybe sometimes in your future that you'll take an interest and learn how to fly. It's a lot of fun. You'll enjoy it. Dan Perkins in the Indian aviation, he's an instructor in the aviation. And he's actually put Long Beach City College on the map. We have one of the top programs in the country, over 90% pass rate. If you turn to page 10, only aviation has been singled out to show cost, compare the cost of aviation to some of the other programs on the campus. One program, it is an 8 to 10 or 12 students per instructor. That's a very high cost program. Also, while you're at it, consider the employment record of the like the athletic department. How many students walked off this campus with a professional contract to play basketball, baseball, soccer, water polo, tennis, football? Cerritos dropped their football program. We should consider that too, with a record of 0 to 10. Back to aviation. Every airplane in the air must be cleared before they can take off by an AP mechanic. And it must be inspected each year. All these private planes you see, they must be inspected each year. If it is used in flight training, it must be inspected every 100 hours.
Sir, can you start to bring it to a conclusion?
Sure can.
Thank you.
Why did the administration, and this is talking about the aviation program, they listed at 19 students and it's way below the FTEs. If you go back and check that real close, it's 19 students for 8 weeks, and then they have another 8 weeks. 19 and 19, I think, adds up to be 38 students. So we only collecting FTEs for only half of that. It's been brought to your attention. Would you please direct somebody to go down and correct that? It's been brought to your attention before and it hasn't been corrected. Dan Perkins tried to get it done for 10 years now. Nobody's listening, but now you're trying to cut the program because it's a high cost. And here's some questions I have for you. Why did the administration turn down the offer by Saudi Arabia to train their A&P mechanics that was going to bring in about $2 million? Why did the administration turn down a contract with South Korea? 5 weeks ago, I was at the airport, at the LA Helicopters. China wants LA Helicopters to train their pilots, and they wanted to recommend us to train the A&P mechanics, but they learned our program has just been going to be discontinued. And check this one out. When a student graduates, they must take an FAE written exam and then take an oral and manipulative exam. And that oral and manipulative exam is given by a DME that is designated mechanical examiner, and it takes about 6 to 8 hours. And guess what? Dan Perkins, a faculty member, is qualified to do that, but the administration won't let him do it on campus. He has to go to LA Long Beach Airport, rent a hangar to have all the students to go over and take that oral and written exam.
All right, sir, could you conclude?
Are you aware of that?
All right, sir, you have 30 seconds to conclude your comments.
And that's about to get ugly. I think it's all FAA aviation program. It's about to get ugly. I call it a vendetta. It seems the FAA hurt the feelings of a VP on 3 occasions. That same VP that used authorized payment over the objection of the faculty for his apartment, rental car, cell phone, credit card, and flights to Sacramento, funds generated by the students and faculty. The VP that you hired to fix LA Long Beach City College. Now that he's gotten us into this fix, he resigns and another fixer is hired, and he's allowed to control this community, will become illiterate and a high crime area, and the fixers will get in their car and ride out of town.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, one last thing.
No, sir.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you, and the next speaker, please. This item also, because it threw us on the cover, he has data in there. Do you have this data as well? As mentioned, the information you gave us has been, the question I did ask, has this been given to the academic side to have this information? They said they do. All right. We have 2 speakers, but it looks like more, but I get your point. But go ahead. Your name for the record, please.
Thank you. My name is Rose Vance, and I am currently an aviation student and also in the process of getting my AS here.
I'm sorry, did you put the name Rose down?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I'm here to share with you the reason why I chose to receive my instruction and become a certificated A&P mechanic here at Long Beach, and why I feel the program should be continued. I have a passion for aircraft, for people, for safety and technological advances in the aviation field. And because of that passion, I have researched schools for over a year nationwide to find the best one. Out of that research, talking with the FAA, AMPs in the field, IAs, and DMEs, along with the businesses that employ them, the question I asked was, what's the best AMP school in the nation here in California? I found that LBCC ranks in the top 5%, well above all other California schools nationwide. This was based on a national assessment conducted by the FAA. Without asking, the woman I was speaking with at the FAA informed me that of all the colleges, Long Beach consistently sends successful graduates who score a minimum of 90% on all of their oral, written, and practical exams. And 100% of those applicants pass those exams on their first attempt. Every female that I spoke with in the field and in the FAA offices let me know that on top of turning out exemplary mechanics, the instructors here highly encourage women in their program. I was also told that LBCC is the only college that is representative of current industry standards in gender and ethnicity. In my class, the industry standard is met at 12% females in our class, and I am proud of that. And I have to say that it has everything to do with our instructors. Because of these factors and several employment offers I received while I was asking these questions, I was told upon my successful completion of my schooling and upon receiving my A&P certification to come back and speak with these people because I'm attending here at LBCC. LBCC has the shortest A&P program, but it is also the most comprehensive. I was so confident in this program that I sold my home. I moved away from my family and turned down several lucrative positions to pursue my passion. Now, due to fiscal mismanagement, misappropriation of funds, inaccurate reporting, our program, along with other vital programs, are up for discontinuation, even with the passing of Prop 30. There is a program that is a financial resource hog and has been not producing any of the results promised. That program is the Promise Pathways Initiative. If that one program is discontinued, it would allow all of the programs up for discontinuance to continue. Promise Pathways is attempting to bring students up to collegiate learning level while taking much needed funding for programs from students that are already at that level. There are 3 other programs offered by the college already in place that have a proven record for success, along with the study groups the students in class form on their own, not to mention the help the instructors offer during their office hours and in class. I was told that I could attend another college that offered the same A&P program. I was told Orange Coast, Mount Sac, or West LA. The next closest college to me that offers my program would require 7 additional bus transfers, 3 extra hours of travel, and an extra $15 a day one way for me to go to continue my education. When I got over the initial shock, I then contacted the college and was informed that my aviation credits would not be transferable and that I would have to start over again and be on another wait list that at the moment is over a year long. Not only that, these other colleges are not equipped to accommodate the influx of LBCC's aviation students. My plight is just one of the many of the 100 students, along with the families, who will be affected by the closure, not to mention the financial impact to the city of Long Beach. By the discontinuance of this and all of the other programs, I don't think it's fiscally responsible for this city to discontinue all of these programs. You guys have the money, you have the funds to make sure that these programs are continued and you're not using your resources wisely. It's an atrocity that you guys can continue to do this and look at yourselves in the mirror and can go to bed at night. I cannot believe that you guys can sit up here and say that you understand where we're at. I have no home because I believed in this college. I sold my home. I put my life on the line, and I'm not the only student that did that. And I would really, really appreciate if you guys would take the time to review your finances and to actually put yourselves in our positions. Because I'm sure some of you have been in this position before, and you remember what it's like. Please remember what it's like for us now. Really hope that you will take this into consideration and remember that all of the students in the programs that are discontinued have an economic right to exist. Thank you.
Thank you, Roseanne. So I'm already got the final speaker. Is there one more speaker with aviation?
My name is Rahib Takir. I'm here as a parent and a taxpayer. My son is Hashim Takir in the aviation maintenance program here in Long Beach City. I'm just going to get to it. My son needs this program. He needs the maintenance program so he could transfer to Cal State LA for their
bachelor's degree in aviation business administration. Okay, now if he has to start this program over again, he's going to be set back 2 years. Now on the back end of his career, for the career path that he's chosen, it's going to cost him a minimum of $500,000 up to $1 million in potential income because of having to start over because this credit won't transfer to another program. Not to mention, I pay for this out of my own pocket. We don't qualify for financial aid. I don't get my money back for this. He's halfway through, and if he gets shut down at the end when he's finishing and he has to start all over again, that's going to wreak havoc for what he's got planned for his life. Now, we just met with the Marine Corps Officer Selection Board, and he passed his interview. They expect him to be done on time. Now, aviation is time-sensitive career field. I'm second generation maintenance myself. My mother worked for McDonnell Douglas from 1965 till she retired from Boeing in 1999. When I graduated from Millikan in '83, went right in the Marine Corps, worked the flight line at El Toro, got out, worked 12 and a half years for Northrop Grumman, built in F-18s for the Navy, okay? Parlayed that into a flying career. Now I'm flying Airbus 320 for JetBlue here in Long Beach. They paying me $170,000 this year to fly that thing. My foundation off an airframe and power plant license, okay? Most of you probably don't know, but an airframe and power plant license is just the beginning. It's a foundation, and it's a foundation that pays 6 figures, okay? This thing here, it translates into many other management positions. Every director of operations for every 121, 135, and most Part 91 operators, meaning every airline, every cargo operator from Catalina flying boats out of Long Beach Airport to FedEx. All these corporate operators that fly regional jets, or they fly regional operators that fly turboprops, or whether it's some of these corporate outfits or these Fortune 500 companies that have their own flight departments. Every last one of them have to have a director of operations, no matter if he has a bachelor's degree, a master's degree. He is mandated by the FAA to carry a airframe and power plant license with at least 1 year's experience turning wrenches on airplanes. Now, this program, along with that bachelor's degree program at Cal State LA, sets him up on a career path to be a squadron commander in his career path in the Marine Corps. When he gets out, with the people that I know and the way the industry works, he's set up to walk right into a high-paying FedEx or UPS air cargo carrier. These guys are paying $262 an hour. Translation, these guys are making, with a little hustle, $350,000 to $400,000 a year. The average neurosurgeon makes $360,000 a year. Okay, this is just the beginning. You're taking taxpayer money not only on the front end, but on the back end, in the revenues that this piece of paper, this plastic, will bring to the economy of this city, this county, this state, this country. Look, I know the value of this. That's why, as a homeowner, I live in the same house and own the same house that my father owned. We moved to the city in 1969. I voted for that Measure E because I knew the value of these vocational programs. I got 3 sons. 2 of them are in the vocational programs here, one in aviation and one in the welding program. I knew the value of these things. I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is. I will pay the extra money. I don't care if it's equivalent of $200 of credit, because I know the value of it on the back end, what it means not only to these individuals, these families, my family. I know what it means to this city and this county and this state. Now, that's the biggest thing I needed to get to you guys, is that you need to understand that there's a lot of money involved here. And it's not just the dimes that you guys are trying to get to in the process of jumping over that dollar, okay? You know as well as I do, the average number in this country for bachelor's degrees is what, 1 in 5? So you got the other 3 or 4 people in this country, what are they supposed to do? You're gonna jump over the other 2 or 3 people in this country to get to that one person for that bachelor's degree? I got the point that The state is auditing you guys and they're holding you accountable, okay? But you guys are also mandated to the city of Long Beach and this community to provide a pathway into the workforce. Now, with that said, this is a blue-collar city. This is not the base for a bunch of Fortune 500 companies. This isn't Silicon Valley. You got that port, you got this airport that opens up tomorrow. I just walked through it yesterday. It's beautiful, okay? I watched the welders put that thing together. JetBlue just hired a bunch of mechanics and for Long Beach, Fort Lauderdale, and New York City. What that means is there's work. Now, aviation is just getting started. And what I mean by that is the mass retirements have already started. Air traffic controllers, they had all those controllers that Reagan fired in the 80s. Well, they got replaced in mass. Now they're retiring in mass and being replaced. I know, I deal with them, okay, because I can pick up on the experience vacuum. Airline pilots, they just changed the retirement age 5 years ago from 60 to 65. Starting this month, the mass retirement starting. I'm worried about what's going to happen a year and a half from now because there's not enough people in the pipeline. Mechanics, most of these guys are in their 50s. I work for JetBlue. Half the mechanics I deal with are in their 50s. At the legacies, it's even worse. Who's going to replace them? And I'm going to tell you, maintenance program, it does matter. I've worked for 2 different airlines. JetBlue, which is a good airline with a good maintenance program, and my last airline, which had a bad maintenance program. I've lost an engine at 37,000 feet and had to make an emergency landing in Pittsburgh. I've gotten 500 feet off the deck out of Chicago, and the control surface frees up on me. And to make it personal on you guys, I'm sure most of you have been on an airplane. I'm sure all of you remember Alaska Air, Mad Dog, that MD-80 that crashed off the coast of LA here. Every airplane has redundant systems, except for that MD-80 jack screw on that horizontal stabilizer. Somebody in maintenance made a bad decision not to perform the required maintenance, and those threads stripped off that thing, and those pilots had an uncontrollable airplane and people died.
Can we conclude, please?
Okay. I'm just saying, you got a first-class maintenance program here. You don't shut down Harvard, Yale, and MIT to send everybody to Joe Smokatelli's maintenance program on the internet. And it might come back to haunt you. Please, think about it. Don't shut that program down. My son needs it. This community needs it.
Thank you. Is John Kindrell, it's Kindrel, he's a student. I just have down program cuts, very general. John Kindrell, Kindrel. John, I'm going to ask you to remain within, because you've been here before us, so you know what we do. You can keep it within 3 minutes, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Now, I'm not a student in the trades, but I am a parent, a grandparent, and a community member, and I know what it's like. Oakley, you talked about the Hispanics. Well, I'm part of the other 2 groups that has a hard time here, the blacks and the disabled, and I'm in both of those. When I came here, I was a single parent of 4 kids. I came home homeless twice. I was told I can't do it. But guess what? Thanks to the teachers here and a lot of students here, I now have 2 associates and a certificate, and I'm waiting for Cal State Long Beach and Dominguez to let me know in the fall which one will let me in first. I've been in the hospital 4 times. I flunked classes and came back. I have learning disabilities and things I have to do because I believe what I was told. Now, when you came and wanted support for the E-measure, one of the things you were saying was how important the trades industry is to this community and how it's so important to the port of Long Beach. We have the 2nd largest city in LA County outside the city of Los Angeles itself, and the largest population, and the most diverse, second only to the city of Los Angeles. Now, how can you say back in the past all those things you did now, but now you want to cut these programs? Okay, I'm part of the baby boomer. And we're leaving the workforce at a very alarming rate for a number of reasons. Now, the U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics, the U.S. Department of Labor, and so on, has said we need to fill that gap that's leaving, which means people are leaving faster than we can replace. Do you want somebody fixing your brand new Lexus, BMW, that can't do a car, or fly on a plane, or anything, or a contractor? I sure don't want to. I can't afford it if I didn't know. Also, too, the question is, I never heard this whole semester in these meetings, is this. One, on September the 18th, Governor Brown signed into law Senate Bill 1402, extending the so-called Economic and Workforce Development Program, which trains community college students for jobs in sections such as transportation, biotechnology, environmental technology, and healthcare. Around $23 million was designated to the programs, which is the pathway to a strong, stable California environment. Okay, now, on September the 19th, 2012, the Department of United States Labor and the Obama administration put aside $2 billion for the trades and industry programs, which now, to present, all these other areas are saying the same thing you were saying back in 2007. We need these programs. Even more, they're even saying it. They're putting money up there for this. Okay, why haven't we got any of this money when Cerritos College has got money and we got a hell of a better program than they do?
John, can you wrap up, please?
Okay, LA Tech got money. East Los Angeles received money, and other schools. 17 colleges, universities in California got money. Then, on September the 24th, 2012, California community colleges announced federal grants for nearly $18 million to provide workforce training programs and partnerships. 11 colleges get direct grant, 4 others part of out-of-state grants, $40 million. Now, did we get a penny of any of this? And if not, why not? And I think as a community member and a voter, we have a right to know. Did we try for it? And if we did try, why didn't we get it? If other schools got it. And also, too,
John,
people in the audience.
John.
I'm about done.
Your time. Just last sentence. Go ahead.
Okay. A lot of you say you have no rights and no votes. Well, the Board of Trustees are voted by the people of Long Beach. Okay. Now, you now know this. Okay. In 2014, 3 of you are coming up for re-election. And if you read what it says on the page on the school about the duties of the Board of Trustees, it's to serve the better interests of the community, of this community. Now.
John, enough. Thank you. Thank you.
Still, they need to know.
Thank you. All right. That is all the speakers I have down for on the academic programs. So I will now move to, we have 2 more speakers, beginning with Karen Roberts, part-time issues, Lynn Shaw, full-time issues. Or Lynn, you gonna, whichever one you want to go first. And then we have no other speaker cards, correct? No others. So as they're working towards the podium, just to all the people who have taken the time to come here, thank you very much. I know it's not easy. We as a board realize it's not easy. The only thing I would like to say is that, and I've repeated this every time, but I'm going to do it every time I have programs show up. All the programs are valuable. All the programs that come before us, there's a need by the students. All of us realize that. All the programs meet the mission of this college, and they all have a value. The only comment is where I heard, and we're very sensitive to words here, is that we want to cut programs. Absolutely false, every one of us. And the program, so all the information you bring to us, we funnel back through If you give it to us, it's going to go back to the process that's been going on for months, and that's on the academic side of the House. The recommendation will come from the academic side of the House with the Vice Presidency Administration through the President's office, and a recommendation will come to us sometime in January, so you do know the process and the expectations, what will happen at that point in time. So it's not a decision that we are part of throughout, except for actually here. Everything else is being done by the people that probably understand it the best. So any information you do have or any questions you have, I would just encourage you again, talk to the people involved in the process that are involved in the academic side who understand it. Thank you. Go ahead, Karen.
Oh, yes. Good evening. I'm just giving you a little bit of an update in terms of part-time faculty. I think the last time I spoke up here, I was talking about part-time faculty participation in SLO assessments. On December 3rd, our Vice President of Academic Affairs, Gaither Lowenstein, sent out an urgent email to all part-time faculty giving us an update on the expectations of the district with regard to our participation in SLO assessments. So it turns out that instead of part-time faculty possibly losing their assigned classes this spring for not participating in SLO assessments, that we've gotten a bit of a reprieve, and we'll be in danger of losing our classes in the fall semester of 2013 for not participating in SLO assessments. It pains me to say that if the district wants to lower the morale of the part-time faculty, then you're on the right track. And the reason why it pains me to say that is because I think in the last 2.5 years, while we've had some obstacles, we have moved forward with developing relationships, and really, you know, we have part-time faculty on the Academic Senate. We've developed a part-time faculty caucus. You know, we've made some strides here. And the last time I spoke on this issue, I think what I was saying is that this could be done in a different way. I really believe this. I think this is a very negative approach with threatening part-time faculty with their jobs if they do not participate in SLO assessments. Just a little bit of a background. 2.5 years ago, part-time faculty, part-time counselors, librarians, and those teaching non-credit courses took a 15% pay cut. Clearly, this community college and all community colleges are able to mostly make their budget because we teach. We teach without any job security. We do not have any health insurance. At this college, we don't have any rehire rights. And so I think, you know, this is really discouraging. I'm hearing a lot from part-time faculty who have been here 20 and 30 years, who have served this college for a long time, who are anxious and upset about the possibility of losing their jobs. I've met with Dr. Bagg, and I've met with Lark Zunick talking about this particular issue, because one of my concerns is that not all part-time faculty read their Long Beach City College email, and I'm very concerned that some of them are not going to be getting the message. I'm also concerned that there is not across the board any kind of standard for how we need to be participating at all. So this is just very frustrating to me. I just think it sets up a very negative environment. I think that this could be done in a much more positive way. Obviously, we've made a demand to bargain over this. I know that many of the details will be worked out in the bargaining process, but I think as long as I've been president of the Part-Time Faculty Association, I've stood before you and asked you to please consider the way that part-time faculty are treated on this campus. I think building the morale of part-time faculty is very important, especially when you depend on them to help accomplish your student success agenda. So I plead with you one more time in regards to this issue. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Karen. Lynn?
Hi, my name is Lynn Shaw, and I'm president of the Full-Time Faculty Union. And the first thing I'd like to say is I'm so impressed with the students and their bravery to speak out. I know it's a really difficult thing, and I really appreciate you using your voice to express your concerns. I have to speak a bit about what Karen was talking about and the morale of faculty related to SLOs, and really the same thing is going on with the full-time faculty. We need to develop a better way to deal with SLOs, and I call it the stick method is really not working. I think our faculty are interested in our students' success. We're with them every day. We want to see them succeed, but we don't appreciate the unprofessional punishment type of philosophy that's developing around SLOs. So, you know, I'll have to do some more talking to our part-time colleagues. My whole life has become all about program discontinuance this semester. It's been a very difficult semester for me. I want to thank Eloy for, wow, taking some programs off the list. That was an awesome thing to do, and I really appreciate it. And the faculty appreciate it, and especially the students in those programs appreciate it. There are 12 more programs on the list, and that still impacts 25 faculty, so my sleepless nights are not over. I do believe there are other ways we can get to the cost cutting that we need, such as incentivize a retirement and maybe improve the department head structure. Just a couple ideas, and we are talking about these ideas. Finally, some happy news. I am so happy to report that tomorrow we will be opening the Faculty Staff Lounge, which is a redone room in the cafeteria area, and I really have to thank Anne Marie especially for helping us make all of it happen. It took us a whole year, but tomorrow we will be having coffee and cookies from 2 to 5, and you know, the staff and faculty are invited to just come take a look. The second thing, which is for me something very exciting, the full-time faculty and the part-time faculty have been sharing a union office for the last semester. We moved last year, I guess. But as of yesterday, I just gave the keys to the classified union, and they will be sharing an office with us also. So I'm very happy to welcome the classified union. Thank you.
Thank you, Len. I don't believe, on behalf of the entire board, thank you for people coming here tonight and participating, but also because this is our last meeting for the year 2012. We wish everyone a joyous holiday, and we look for a very prosperous, hopefully, 2013, and with good health for everyone. So thank you again for all attending the meeting. I know there's a lot of other places you'd rather be, but we do appreciate your comment, and I think, again, I can speak on behalf of everyone. When people say none of us want to do any cuts, but the reality of what we're facing, we're going to do the best we can, working with everybody in the college. With that, I was asked earlier in the meeting, if there's no other comments from the members of the board, we're asked to adjourn this meeting in the memory of the family members who sadly passed away in the last month. So with that, the meeting is adjourned. A very happy holiday, and we will see everyone in 2013. The meeting is adjourned.